Ælfric of Eynsham was an English monk and writer who lived around 955 to 1010. He was a student of Æthelwold, a bishop in Winchester, and became one of the most important writers of his time. He wrote in Old English, creating religious stories, sermons, explanations of the Bible, and educational tools. He is sometimes called Ælfric the grammarian or Ælfric the homilist because of his focus on teaching and preaching. Scholars today compare his work to Bede, a famous early English historian, because of how much he wrote and the quality of his ideas. Ælfric studied at Winchester under Æthelwold, who was part of a movement to reform monasteries in England. This movement aimed to follow strict religious rules and improve education. By 987, Ælfric was sent to teach at a new monastery in Cerne Abbas, Dorset, thanks to a nobleman named Ethelmar and his father Ethelward, who supported learning. While there, Ælfric wrote two sets of sermons called homilies based on teachings from early Christian leaders like Gregory the Great. These sermons explain Bible stories and church teachings in simple terms for ordinary people. He wanted to correct older, less accurate religious stories and make sure people understood proper Christian beliefs. Around 995, Ælfric wrote three books to help students learn Latin: a grammar guide, a list of words grouped by topic, and a conversation manual called the Colloquy. The Colloquy was like a script for students to practice speaking Latin through everyday conversations, such as discussing their chores or trades. These books were groundbreaking because they were written in Old English, making Latin learning easier for English speakers. Between 996 and 997, Ælfric wrote a collection called Lives of the Saints, which told stories about holy figures. Some of these stories were written in a poetic style. He also included warnings against pagan beliefs and immoral behavior, showing how the church was still fighting old religions and corruption. One of his major projects was translating parts of the Old Testament into Old English, including the book of Genesis. This was risky because many people believed the Bible's exact wording was sacred, but Ælfric focused on translating the meaning rather than copying words blindly. He added a preface to his translation, urging readers not to copy the actions of ancient Israelites as their practices were no longer suitable for Christians. In 1005, Ælfric moved to Eynsham, Oxfordshire, to lead a new monastery there. As abbot, he wrote guides for monks, simplified religious texts, and letters advising bishops. He emphasized kindness, humility, and fairness in his writings. For example, he taught that bosses should treat workers well and that true love for God must be shown through actions, not just words. His views on purity and women, though still strict by modern standards, were considered progressive for his time. Ælfric cared deeply about accuracy. He begged future scribes to copy his words carefully to avoid mistakes or changes to his teachings. Sadly, many of his writings were almost lost in fires or wars over centuries. He died around 1010, but his works survived as some of the best examples of Old English literature. In 2002, a blue plaque was placed in Eynsham to honor his contributions. Ælfric's writings focused on God's mercy and the importance of living a good life. Unlike fiery preachers of his time, he stressed kindness and humility. He believed education was vital, and his books helped monks, students, and ordinary people understand their faith better. His work shows how religion, learning, and everyday life were connected in medieval England. Even today, his writings give us window into the thoughts and struggles of people over 1,000 years ago.